So I got the M95 long rifle taken apart. You can see it's pretty similar to the carbine. Lots of dirt and a little bit of rust underneath the wood line, but a lot of the remaining finish is left. Looks like some of the finish got worn off here. And compared to the exposed part, definitely a lot more finish. The bolt parts look good, the spring's intact, the firing pin's intact. The extractor also looks good. The extractors are not cheap to replace, so that's good news. Now the top handguard is in two pieces. It should be in one piece, so I don't know if the Ethiopians replaced maybe like the front part of it at some point, or maybe it was damaged and they cut out a new back piece from another one or something, but it looks like they combined the two together, which I've seen on some of their rifles before, particularly one of the Enfields. See the other side of the receiver here, looks decent, as well as the other side of the barrel. Inside of the butt plate looks pretty dirty and has some rust, so glad I'll be able to clean that out. You can see here the inside of the stock is pretty dirty. Lots of dirt. Looks like some grass or something in here. But overall it looks pretty sound. I don't see any cracks or anything. And on the back where the butt plate was, you can see it's pretty decent as well. Those cracks that we saw don't go very deep, so looks like just surface cracks. So go ahead and get these parts bowled and carded, as well as clean out the stock with some linseed oil and the bore as well with a press brush. Just looking at the small parts. So going over the parts for the M95 rifle. See, they all look pretty good. The boiling and carding really did bring out some more of the finish in these parts. Did clean up pretty nicely. I did take this apart and clean out all these smaller parts inside of it. Cleaned out these screws. Some of these screws are pretty tight, so I had to put a lot of downward pressure while I turned them to prevent the screws from getting more damage than they already were. You can see the front bands did get a little bit of their finish back, but not much. You can see the top handguard here. Still kind of dirty, so I'm going to keep working on these. I'm going to use some fine steel wool and some linseed oil to clean out, especially the inside here. Let's go ahead and take a look at the receiver and the barrel. So this is the receiver and barrel. You can see I cleaned it out really well. The trigger was pretty dirty, as well as the zero spring here. So I cleaned out a lot of the crud and gunk that was in it. And the finish looks really good where the wood was protecting it. You can see there's still a fair amount of finish left on the muzzle. You can make out that 1917 acceptance date, as well as the Steyr manufacturer. You can see here from the top, a little bit I need to clean out here in the corner, but otherwise pretty clean. Looking at the other side also looks pretty good. You can see some of the tooling marks. Serial number. And the other side of the barrel has pretty good finish as well. Getting up to the muzzle. Go ahead and reattach the butt plate. I always get a little nervous leaving that off, as you could accidentally damage the stock. See, the stock's pretty clean. I'll probably do a little bit more linseed oil on it. Wipe it down again. You can see it has a nice stark finish to it. You can see the grooves here are a little worn. The barrel inlay is in really good shape. You can see there's not any cracks or chips anywhere. You can see a number here, 59R. I believe that's a regimental number. See the stock here, looks good on the other side. A little worn here. And some of the wire wheeling, you can see the linseed oil kind of covered that up a bit. So overall the stock's in pretty good shape. I'll give it another wipe down before I reassemble it. Here's the M95 rifle reassembled. Take a closer look at it. The butt plate and butt stock's in pretty good shape. It'll probably take a few more cleanings to get some of the more stubborn spots out of the stock, but overall the stock looks pretty good. The magazine and trigger guard has a decent amount of finish left. You can see the Steyr manufacturer stamp there, and a 17 for 1917 for its acceptance date. Now that doesn't mean that it was made in 1917, it's just when it entered service, but given the situation at the time, that's probably pretty close to its manufacture date. Moving down the rifle, see a lot more dents. You can see there's a decent amount of finish left on this band. Some wire wheel marks near it though. And the boiling and carding did help a little bit, but not too much finish left on this front band. Look at the other side. You can see there is a stamp here for a serial number. It's really hard to make out. You can see some more dents and dings and everything. You can see the serial numbers here. Barrel matching the receiver. The rear sight is complete. You can see a lot of wire wheel marks here, but the linseed oil has helped cover it up. Over time it'll darken out and be hidden a bit more. You can see a decent amount of finish left on the front band and stacking rod and the muzzle, but it's pretty worn. And you can see right here is the import mark underneath the muzzle and the barrel. On the other side of the stock, looks pretty decent. There is a pretty big mark here from wire wheeling. You can see the brushes. It should help cover up a bit over time. Some linseed oil. So hope you enjoyed this video. Thinking about getting one of these M95 rifles. They're still pretty cheap. They're still $249 on the Roll Tiger Imports website. These are typically harder to find than the carbines, since a lot of them are cut down into carbines after the war and sold pretty heavily on the surplus market. I'll have another video out soon on the carbine that I purchased, as well as another long rifle. I'll also have a video out on some of the accessories that you can get for your M95s, slings and bayonets mostly, and where you can get them. so stay tuned for that one. I'll also have some other projects coming up, so if you'd like to be notified of those, feel free to subscribe and sign up for alerts. If you have any questions about this rifle or the video, feel free to drop them in the comments. And as always, thank you for watching.